The Eastern Cape Education Department has opened a criminal case after it was allegedly defrauded of more than R1.5 million by a service provider who was contracted to provide and deliver school furniture. Disciplinary action has also been instituted against officials implicated in the processing of this transaction. Let's get you a sense of what else we know. Bring in the head of the Eastern Cape Department of Education, that's Mbulelo Mpupu, who joins us via our telephone line this morning. Mbulelo, it's great to have you on. Thanks very much indeed for making time. In a statement released by the Education Department, you say that an invoice was submitted on the 7th of December 2020. The money was paid on the 10th, but then it's after the fact that an investigation actually revealed that the invoice itself was irregular.
Yes, good morning to you, Mr. Nkosi, and also good morning to the listeners of Newzroom Afrika. Yes, we can confirm that indeed there is this unfortunate situation where a service provider invoiced the Department of Education of that amount of R1.5 million without having delivered the goods to schools. You will surely remember that in terms of us as government, you actually render a service, then you get your payments thereafter. So in this case, it didn't happen like that. So it's kind of an advance payment that was actually given to the service provider, which is unlawful.
Absolutely. And unfortunate is not the term I would use, especially in a context where we have schools opening in less than 3 days. Tell me that the officials who oversaw this transaction, at the very least, have been held accountable.
Yeah, definitely. It's surely a line function, a value chain. But it's so unfortunate that the initiator of the document unfortunately passed on. But there are some of the officials who actually laid their hands on the document concerned, and hence this disciplinary action is actually instituted against them.
The statement from the department also speaks of a Mr. Nkola, who the Education Department says has been casting aspersions on its integrity. What do we know about this individual, who I understand is actually the person who heads the company that defrauded the department?
Your question again, what do we know?
Yes. This individual seems to be at the center of even the department's speaking out about this incident.
Yeah, you see, Nkosi, what is happening, the social media are actually up there and they sometimes get abused by people. So it then appears that there are some statements that Mr. Nkola is making against the department, or in fact issues that are happening in the department. Perhaps that's that, but basically he is the owner of Rickshaw Trade, and it is surely the company that has actually invoiced the department without rendering a service.
You're speaking to Mr. Nyati, by the way. Help us understand how this is going to impact the opening of schools come Wednesday. At the very least, I mean, this is furniture that was paid for, which hasn't arrived, and will have a material impact on how schooling can actually take place.
Yeah, definitely. It has got a negative impact. More especially in that government generally is actually having a shrinking budget. So the truth of the matter is that the Department of Education, particularly in the Eastern Cape, is actually no exception. So there is surely no money in government owing to the well-known issues that are happening in the country, and also the pandemic that has actually occupied the space within our areas. So this surely is having a negative impact because the furniture in question would go a long way in assisting schools with the kind of the material so necessary for education, delivery of services to happen. So teaching and learning is surely going to be impacted negatively.
Which is obviously the last thing you need as the Eastern Cape, especially if the results from the province in the past are anything to go by.
Yeah, my line is not very, if you can raise your voice a little bit.
Yeah, I was just pointing out that it's the last thing you need, especially as a province, given how the province has performed in recent history.
Absolutely.
All right. Of course, there's questions around if this money can ever be recovered. The transaction itself happened over a year ago. Are you still confident that you're going to get the money back?
This surely is a matter that is now currently left to the law enforcement agencies, and surely law has got to take its own course. So we are actually sticking and trusting our institutions that they will actually make every means to make sure that this kind of expenditure that has been has happened unlawfully is actually recovered, so that the money of the public is actually returned for gainful use. That's we are crossing our fingers for that.
All right. Mbulelo Mpupu is the head of the Eastern Cape Education Department. Thanks very much indeed for your time. I must admit, I'm actually at a loss for words. The department admitting that 1.5 million rand has been paid to a company who was contracted to deliver furniture. That money was delivered, or that money was paid before the furniture was delivered. The person who, it appears, initiated that process has now died. And obviously that will have some kind of implication to how this investigation actually proceeds. We'll have to keep watching this for you.